Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 5 of season 3 of our F1 25 Red Bull Driver Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix on the Jeddah Corniche. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from Bahrain, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. 4 races down so far this season. And all of them have been a little bit interesting for very, very different reasons. Last weekend, we were locked into battle once again with Lando Norris for the race victory. But of course, yeah, McLaren, one of their home Grand Prix, kind of-ish, inside F1 25. Lando just about able to squeak away the victory by barely a tenth of a second over myself. It means the gap now down in the Drivers' Championship is back to just 7 points between the pair of us after 2 wins apiece. I can just take a bit of solace from the sprint race success we saw back in, obviously, Shanghai. And then, of course, yeah, Lando finishing 3rd in Japan as well has given us a slightly better buffer. I've not finished lower than 2nd so far this season, and I look to hopefully try and continue with that on for as long as we possibly can. The ever-consistent Alexander Albon still in 3rd overall at the moment. His results are steadily just getting worse early on this year. 2 third places, a 4th, and then a 6th. Charles Leclerc, again, very, very consistent, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen bagged his first podium of the year as well in Sakir, but, you know, that with 2 DNFs still means he's quite the way down the championship order. A lot of you guys are already theorising that maybe the team want to get rid of the Dutchman. I honestly don't know just yet. We'll have to wait and see if there's some Red Bull antics at play. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 15,000 subs here on the channel as well at the moment. But yeah, Jeddah, this can either go really well or really badly for me. I'm not expecting it to be a track that suits the Red Bull car, though. Well, it can often be a little bit difficult to predict which cars are going to go strong and where on F1 25, but usually I seem to get it wrong. So maybe that's a good omen, that perhaps this Red Bull car is going to be quite quick around this circuit. We'll have to wait and see. One car, though, on paper I do expect to be quick here is going to be that Williams, though, of Albon and Carlos Sainz. Of course, we've already seen them bag a pole position. We've obviously had the last 2 in a row, so I would love to make it 3. But, yeah, Sainz, of course, took that pole in Shanghai ready for the sprint. Albon, of course, took that pole then ready for the main event. Neither of them could sadly convert it. But I would love to see Williams win a race this season. Purple through the first sector then, but that is normally where I'm very, very strong inside this game. But picking up big speed by the time we get towards the end of Sector 2. Maybe Liam Lawson in the sister car can provide us with a nice, healthy slipstream as well. It looks like he is. Thank you very much, Liam Lawson. As we will get around his outside there, almost 220 miles an hour down in towards the final corner of the lap then. And well, I know a lot of people question whether Red Bull should be allowed 2 teams in the sport. If they keep doing things like that for me, I won't complain too much. There is a 125.4 that even with that slipstream, still not enough to go quicker than Carlos Sainz. Is everybody heading back out then for their final runs here of qualifying? Albon has gone even quicker than Carlos Sainz once again then, so Williams look to be absolutely unstoppable around this circuit at the moment, but we have clutched up before this series. Obviously 2 pole positions in a row. Surely the money is going to be on us to try and make it 3. We only need about half a tenth at the moment, but of course Sainz could find a bit more on these final runs as well. Of course, I don't think there's any circuit more exciting to try and do 1 lap around than here on the Jeddah Corniche. As long as I don't hit that inside wall there, very, very close on the way through turn 4, but we keep it just about away from it. Let's making our way through the rest of the S's. It's over. We're not going to make it 3 pole positions in a row. There is a big, big mistake through the exit of the corner. Williams, by the looks of it, are going to have a front row lockout, but which way around is it going to be? I think, whoa, there we go. Sainz has done it. Carlos Sainz on 125.2. I believe Albon has already finished his final run. We'll wait and see if anybody else is able to go quicker than myself there, but a little bit of an anticlimactic end to qualifying for us. We will line up 3rd, though, on the grid. Williams, our front row lockout here. James Vowles, I'm sure, is ecstatic to see that. Well, there we go. I'm sure Williams will be absolutely celebrating that one. I think Red Bull, to be honest, we've done a pretty good job to get a second row lockout as well. Mercedes, they look to be a bit resurgent here in 5th and 7th place there with Ollie Behrman just between them. A brilliant effort in that Haas car, but our main championship rival Lando Norris all the way down in P9, so there is going to be a little bit of intrigue as we head into the Grand Prix. Ocon and Hamilton 13th and 14th. What on earth is going on down at Aston Martin?
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah. One of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, just edging out Alex Albon, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Mr. Monaco, Verstappen, George Russell and Behrman, Antonelli, Piastri, Norris and Charles Leclerc, Bortoletto, Stroll, Esteban Ocon and Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Colapinto, Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan. Lawson and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Well, happy to see then that none of our front runners taking any grid penalties today, because I think we could be in for a fantastic fight with the Williams duo. We've seen them very, very quick early on in races so far this year, but then tend to struggle a little bit more with race pace as the stint continues. But Jeddah is not a tough track on tyres, so I'm hoping it's going to give them a proper chance to fight. It's just always interesting when you get different drivers fighting for the wins inside this game. But ready then on the grid here for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Looks like even Verstappen is going to one-stop this one. 5 red lights. Nice lights out, and away we go then. It's off to a fairly tidy start. Sainz has done a very good job and will remain unattested in towards that first corner. As Verstappen immediately tries to have a look around the outside of myself there. We had a little bit of a wheel-to-wheel battle with our teammate last weekend. As the Dutchman wants to try and keep it down the inside through turn 4 there. A little bit awkward for the pair of us. He could have potentially tried to help me out a little bit more in that scenario, but immediately it has allowed those Williams cars just to scamper away a little bit, but it's definitely still through that first sector where we just have a bit more downforce, a little bit more speed, as here comes Verstappen again. Thought about it. I thought he was going to try and commit to that move, but clearly not there, so we ran wide and basically handed him the place anyway off the exit of the corner. Verstappen up to P3 then, but I think already we are outside the range of those Williams cars, so for the second weekend in a row, Max and I might just need to work together a little bit early on here. That didn't end up working out very well in Bahrain. He just made a couple of mistakes a little bit too early, so never really helped us out. As I'd seen on the minimap, one McLaren had a good start. That would appear to be Oscar Piastri, not Lando Norris. So Norris actually, I don't think has made any real progress off the start of this race. As here comes George Russell to the outside of us in towards that final corner. Mercedes, so far this year, have really struggled, but it does look like their cars have good power right towards the top end. Williams still lead at the end of lap 1. Here goes Albon, though, trying to have a look to the outside of his teammate back towards that first corner. Will he make it happen? As we're going to go wheel-to-wheel with a former Williams driver in towards turn 1. Sainz will hang on for now. Well, there we go now. As soon as the DRS has been enabled, those Williams cars again having to start playing the games together. Sainz knows he can't really put up much of a defense against his teammate, but both of them have got Verstappen reeling them in early on here. I think Ollie Behrman had a great qualifying effort, but seems to be struggling already, as Verstappen will set a new fastest lap of the race as well. But yeah, because he's right now up on that Williams gearbox. His sights again. If you let them through down to that, in towards that final corner, you can normally get a run back on him in towards turn 1. We saw Lewis doing that to Lando, didn't we, at the start of this year? back in Jeddah. That, I've only just remembered that. That was absolutely hilarious. Well, I'm trying to rack my brains. I don't really think we've ever seen Williams versus Red Bull in a battle for the lead of a Grand Prix. I mean, Williams, I think, have only won one Formula 1 race since Red Bull came into the sport all the way back in 2005. Of course, never forget Pastor Maldonado's win in Barcelona there, but Verstappen able to get past both Williams temporarily there. Carlos Sainz will get back around him, though, on the run in towards Turn 1. So Williams, Red Bull, Williams, Red Bull. I mean, this is just goes to show how interesting this season has been so far. See, we've had no impact on Williams inside this game, and they have legitimately built a front-running car.
Okay, stand by. We see a problem our end, and we're looking into it.
Oh no, we had this back in Shanghai, and luckily it ended up being nothing. In fact, if anything, it helped me out in that race. But obviously, last weekend, the first time in forever that both Red Bulls made it to the checkered flag without any major problems. Please don't say we're going to have a mechanical failure today.
It's not good news, I'm afraid. Seems like an engine issue.
Oh no, I don't know what that's going to mean. Is the engine going to go pop? We're stuck in lean mix, and we've got nothing off of that final corner. No idea what that was about. Car still seems to have power, but yeah, stuck in lean mix then, so we're going to be a little bit down on the straights. But hopefully not too much as Verstappen takes the lead. How bad is Red Bull's reliability in this game? There we go. That issue does seem to be fixed then, and luckily it only really cost us through Sector 1. So, yeah, luckily we're not going to lose too much time through there anyway against the AI. So, yeah, we've got Lando Norris now right up my trumpet. You can see Verstappen taking the lead of the Grand Prix and is immediately trying to bolt it away from those two Williams cars. I don't know if Sainz has stayed in the DRS. I don't think he has. So maybe Carlos Sainz already beginning to struggle in that lead Williams car. Will Albon try and go for a run on him down in towards the final corner? I mean, the early stages of this Grand Prix are going to be all about the slipstream. As here comes Lando Norris trying to look around my outside.
We didn't get what we needed there,
yep, love that.
But head down, chin up, and let's focus on the rest of the race.
Even if the other car, like, pulls alongside you, it immediately just assumes you failed that challenge, which is rather annoying. Even though Lando, yeah, unable to make the move that time round, but just tucked in behind those Williams cars at the moment. As Sainz locks up again, that might allow Verstappen now to get out of the range of those Williams behind. And our Dutch teammates starting to pull away. Here we go, though. Albon trying to make the move again around the outside of Carlos Sainz. Oh, we really tried to squeeze Norris there down in towards the final turn. I want to keep my main championship rival behind us for as long as I can then, as there goes Sainz again back around the outside of Alex Albon. Can we finally get between those two Williams cars? Whoa, in this Grand Prix, that is a big send on Albon down in towards turn 1. I think we took him and myself by surprise. But back up then into third. Or finally, well, I guess we were running in third earlier on behind both Williams, weren't we? But ahead of a Williams car in this race. Right, well, let's see if we can be a bit strategic here with Carlos Sainz. Let's see if we can get a jump on the Williams. I probably want to go for it back in towards turn 1, unless we're coming under increasing pressure from Albon, which we are. As Sainz then immediately is going to try and go defensive from his teammate, but all this battling is not helping any of us out. The only one it is Max Verstappen. But I want to try and get a run then round the outside of Sainz and try to slingshot our way back into the range of our teammate. Big speed as we make our way in towards turn 1. But we still need to overhaul another half a second. But it maybe isn't as bad as we've seen at other venues so far this year. But once again, it looks like that story reigns true. Williams, fantastic over one lap. But still lacking race pace there. And I mean, now we've got past Sainz. Hopefully we are never going to see him again. What do Red Bull do, though, in terms of tyre strategy? I believe we have been given first choice because we out-qualified Verstappen. Will he want that back from the team? I don't think he'll be able to be completely honest, but track position might be critical as we get towards the pit-in lap. Well, all I'm hoping is that those Williams cars can keep Lando Norris at bay for a little while longer in this Grand Prix. Verstappen really didn't struggle to find a way past them. But I would argue that the Red Bull is a slightly better car this weekend than the McLaren here. As to the outside of our teammate will go. We'll try and work with him. But that is why I've tried to make the move. Track position ready for the pit stop cycle is going to be very, very useful. Well, I don't know if Verstappen just took a little bit more out of his tyres during the early laps, but I've got past him and immediately our teammate is beginning to struggle here. The gap already up to over 2 seconds. Maybe he's been told not to sit in the dirty air of the car in front, but I mean, look at that. Norris now has got past both Williams cars and might pretty much immediately get inside the DRS range of our teammate. How has Verstappen lost 2 seconds in a single lap? Unless it's yet another mechanical issue. Looks like he's going to fall back into the clutches of Carlos Sainz instantly. So it is just not working for Max. I mean, Verstappen, he's got to have some kind of issue again on that Red Bull. He's losing 2 seconds a lap. The AI, I mean, Sainz now is stuck behind him in this Grand Prix. So at least our teammate perhaps helping us out. Stretch a little bit more of an advantage at this stage. But surely Sainz, Norris and Albon are going to be able to try and find a way around him pretty quickly. Tyre wear, oh yeah, those right-hand side tyres aren't looking particularly good at the moment. But I think that's more been down to nudging walls and things like that. As Verstappen will lose 2 places down at the final corner. He'll try and get one of them back off Lando Norris, and he might get the other back off Sainz on the run back in towards turn 1. But all of those guys squabbling now behind. So there we go, Team 1 is in at the end of this lap. But yeah, Sainz though will hang on for now. But Verstappen really making Lando Norris's life quite awkward. Sainz there now has been able to get away from Lando Norris, but it looks like Norris has been able to get away from Alexander Albon as well as Verstappen. So our teammate really struggling. I forgot to pit! Oh no! Oh, that's the second time I've done that this season. Too busy watching what was going on further behind, and well, Verstappen stayed out as well then, alongside Alex Albon. So Sainz and Norris are going to peel into the pit lane there. And we're going to have to extend this stint another 2 laps as the tyre wear warning light now just flashes up. But obviously, yeah, we cannot afford to box this lap. Could I go to softs, though, to the end of the Grand Prix? That'd be quite the risk here. But I think if we kept it out of the walls, we should be all right. I mean, 14 laps on mediums, 11 laps on softs. Doesn't seem ridiculous. And I think it'll be a good way to kind of get ourselves back into the fight at the front. Sainz has come out without any traffic. Lando Norris has come out behind, I believe that's Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. So Sainz here suddenly has got a golden opportunity. There we go then, Albon and Verstappen into the pit lane. Pretty much everybody else into the pit lane then at the end of that lap. So Sainz now has come back out 20 seconds behind us. I believe a pit stop here. Whoa, only costs you about 18. Oh no! Just could not quite catch it the way I needed to. And I thought originally we were going to get the save there, but as he tried to get the throttle back down, it has cost us. We got yellow flags out a lot further back, so I don't know whether we've got a driver retiring. I think that might be Andrea Kimi Antonelli at the Grand Prix in his Mercedes, but we might now need a new front wing as well then in this Grand Prix, as things going from bad to worse here for us. We finished top 2 in every race so far. As there we go, confirmation Antonelli is our first retirement of the afternoon.
We can't sustain this level of damage.
I mean, 93% tyre wear as well. I just don't want to get a puncture on the way. Oh, back to the pit lane there as, yeah, really struggling. I mean, Sainz has taken so much out of me on this lap. We're going to lose bags of time. I think we're probably going to come out around Albon and Verstappen here, probably behind them. And when you factor in the front wing change as well, but into the pit lane, we are going to try and limp. Just about kept it off the wall through that final corner. But Carlos Sainz now looks like he's going to be comfortably out in front in this Grand Prix. Make sure we don't get done for speeding. That would be like the cherry on top of the icing, on top of the disaster cake that those last few laps have been for us in this Grand Prix. There's new wing going on the wagon. Come on, team, we need a good tidy stop. 7.6 is not bad. So there goes Norris, there goes Albon and Russell. I mean, Verstappen is just sinking like a stone at this stage of the race, but we're going to come out behind him and maybe Charles Leclerc. Let's try and get a nice tidy pit lane exit there as well. Leclerc almost crashes into the side of us. Nowhere else I could really go in that scenario, but we are going to enjoy softer tyres right the way through to the checkered flag. We can definitely recover some places later on here. But we've got to try and find a way around Max nice and quickly, so you can see how much extra grip we've got. Even struggling in the dirty air behind our teammate, who has just got no straight line speed off of the corners. I wonder if he's had the same issue we had earlier on, but just seems to be affecting him for a lot longer. Well, tucking up then to the gearbox of George Russell once again then. P4 for him at the moment. It's been a pretty good race so far for the Mercedes man. As you can see how much more straight line speed he's got over what we had on Verstappen. Down the inside in towards the bank turn 12 there, and well, as long as we keep it out the wall. Maybe that wasn't the best place to go for the move, because of course we'll give him the DRS again. But I'm not too worried. We've definitely got a lot more grip through the corners. I've got to stop hitting that wall. That's always the bad one for me. Oh, Russell? Why is Russell pitting? We didn't have any contact with him or anything like that, so is George Russell on a 2-stop? That is very peculiar. Hulkenberg's in as well. I think... No, he definitely didn't start on the hards, did he? I think some of the AI are 2-stopping this, which is a rather peculiar strategy choice in this Grand Prix, but I'm not going to lose sleep over that then. I just thought Hulkenberg was having a pretty good day out. Yep, thanks for reminding me, Mark. Got to look after it towards the end of the afternoon, but we are still the quickest car on track. Hopefully we're about to get back in the range of Albon. I've just sat behind Albon here for a lap or so, just to try and recharge at the battery pack. I want to be able to try and get past Albon and immediately springboard our way in towards Lando Norris's DRS range again. I mean, the DRS, we know just how ridiculous it is around this circuit, but getting the power down then out of the final corner. Hopefully we can try and get a run to the outside or maybe the inside of Albon. Nope, he will go defensive.
So push now, push.
Yeah, I'm definitely not pitting again in this Grand Prix, Mark. The tyres are probably not going to be that comfortable right towards the checkered flag, but it is not worth doing. In towards the final 5 laps then of this Grand Prix. Lando Norris is taking a little bit of time out of Carlos Sainz. Albon and I, though, are taking a lot of time out of Lando Norris. So here goes Albon trying to look round my outside in towards turn 1. Again, just has not quite got the grip there, but already getting a little bit nervous about these tyres. We're putting about 7% wear a lap through them. Got to be even more careful on the rears. Make sure we don't start sliding around, but yeah, I said at the start of the weekend this could be a track Red Bull struggles at. We had good pace early on. It's mad to think we had a dominant 1-2 at some point during this Grand Prix. And it might well be that neither of us even finished on the podium. I mean, we've got to try and find a way around Norris, otherwise Albon is going to try and find a way around me in towards the final corner yet again. Alex Albon, really trying to go for it. It's 4 laps now remaining of this race. Lando Norris is taking about a 10th or 2 a lap at Carlos Sainz. It's not a huge amount. It's definitely enough there as Norris. I thought just for a split second after I committed to it for it, that he was going to try and put me in the wall. Luckily, we will get around him, but we need to nail these first few corners. Oh, that's not good. Tyre wear warning light is already on. With 3 laps remaining of this Grand Prix, 3.5 laps to go of this Grand Prix, the tyre wear warning light has flashed up. I don't know whether that's through nudging walls or anything like that. I have tried to be better in these last few laps, but those rear tyres are taking an absolute beating here. We cannot afford to pit again. We have got to try and drag them to the end, but will they make it?
We're leading our team
here goes Lando.
9.3 seconds.
We are completely powerless there to Lando Norris's attack back in towards turn 1, and well, I was hoping we could try and get in the DRS range of Sainz, but I think he might just be safe now towards the end of this Grand Prix. I want to stay in the DRS of somebody, because the extra speed will be very, very useful. But look how much more grip the AI have got now. Through those first few corners, sliding around, nudging the walls again. Come on, let's just try and stick with Lando. Lando. Little lock up there from Lando Norris as we start the penultimate lap then of this Grand Prix. But our rear tyres are completely shot at the moment. What are they up to? 71% on that rear. The dirty air of the car in front. Mark's told me to go past, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Down the inside, back at turn 1. We know if Lando Norris sees a Red Bull in his mirrors, he's going to jump out of the way. But Sainz now, beginning to stretch that gap out of the front. So the back end broke free there in towards turn 4, and that could have been the wheel gone. Missing it by literal millimetres there. But we are still just trying to hang on to this car, but you can see how twitchy it's becoming. This tyre strategy was definitely not the right one today, but we have got to make it work. Lando again, a huge run, but he just didn't go past me. As Albon now stacking up as well. I mean, this is almost like bump drafting coming from Alex Albon in towards the final corner. But one more lap to go then of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix there. We just squeeze out Lando Norris through that final corner. And now we're going to have to try and take the shortest run back in towards turn 1. Here comes Norris to the outside once again. But Williams, it looks like for the first time in over 13 years, today might finally be their day. It was Pastor Maldonado at the Spanish Grand Prix that took the Grand Prix victory. Today, though, it looks like it's going to be their Spanish driver, Carlos Sainz, that is going to claim glory for the team rounding this final lap of the Jeddah Corniche. I said that car was going to be strong this weekend. He's been a little bit lucky in the fact that both Red Bulls have had a bit of a strategy collapse throughout this Grand Prix. Verstappen running into problems yet again. We both ran into problems in this Grand Prix, but a couple of little mistakes from myself there, and we are just trying to hang on. We are definitely in puncture territory now on that rear right-hand tyre, so we've just got to be super careful as we get the power down the back straight there. We know the AI won't go for anything down here unless they've got hilarious amount of top-end speed. So we will try and save just a little bit more battery. Oh, in towards the corner. Norris looked for it. Oh, I was definitely not on through there as Lando Norris tried to make it happen, but that's actually given us a little bit of safety. Through in towards the final corner, though. It is going to be Carlos Sainz and Williams back on the top step for Formula 1 podium after leaving Ferrari a couple of years ago. People thought his career of winning races was over. Not for Carlos Sainz, though. He will come through for the victory. We will hang on for yet another P2.
Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
And Carlos Sainz sees the checkered flag and wins.
They led from lights out to the flag at the end, and their race victory was never in doubt, was it? Brilliant stuff by them.
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula 1, 3 is the magic number. But there can only be one winner, and that winner today is Carlos Sainz. The top step awaits.
Well, there we are then. Carlos Sainz and that whole Williams team, they have proven time and time again this year that they've got the pace over one lap. But finally, everything has come together. They got a little bit lucky in this Grand Prix. I'm not going to argue against that, but they've got the job done, and Carlos Sainz is yet again a Formula 1 Grand Prix winner there. We somehow hang on for P2, so we keep our streak alive. Lando Norris, a brilliant recovery after another tough qualifying in his McLaren there to come through for third. Albon just ahead of Perez, Verstappen ahead of Piastri, with Stroll there finishing P8 ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell only able to pick up a point for Mercedes on a rather odd two-stop strategy. Further down the order, Esteban Ocon couldn't make much of an impact throughout the Grand Prix. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, the only driver though that failed to see the checkered flag, and Ollie Behrman a real fall from grace. P6 in qualifying, P17 in the race. Hassel wonder just what went wrong this afternoon for him. We now have a 10-point lead though back at the top of the table ahead of Lando Norris. Albon still in third there ahead of Carlos Sainz, who leapfrogs past both Leclerc and Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. So yeah, Carlos Sainz there leapfrogging 11 World Championships, or 14 if you were looking at our other career mode as well. Oscar Piastri still in 8th ahead of Ocon and Colapinto. Hulkenberg there still ahead of George Russell, with Gasly on the board there now with Lance Stroll. It just leaves Doohan, Bortoletto, Lawson and Hadjar yet to score a point this year. Constructors-wise, Red Bull, we've still got a 15-point buffer ahead of McLaren, but Williams reined that gap in quite dramatically this weekend as well. Aston Martin 2 points ahead of Ferrari in that battle for 4th, with Mercedes still ahead of Kick Sauber, Alpine and Haas. Still just VCarb yet to score a point. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.